Hello, good evening, sir. On behalf of WLC, I welcome all of you for the series of webinar on Excel macros. I request Nachiket sir to start the session.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good
Uh,
evening, sir.
is my voice well audible?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Just give me one moment. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I think because somehow my microphone got connected, but my speaker had not got connected. So I was just wondering. Now both have got connected. All right. So I think let us get started for today's discussion. Uh, Now there was some gap actually. A few days back we had connected and I suppose maybe there was some other session or something. So on Wednesday, on the last week's Wednesday, we did not have a session. So today we are having a session. Let us probably have a quick recap of what we did last time. I'm just opening the corresponding file. If you remember, in the last week, we had finished this testing of macro. So we had prepared a Benford's law macro. Actually, that we did last week and last Monday when we had our session. So that time we did testing of the same. And during the testing, one or two minor points came up. We solved those points. And then uh, subsequently, we also discussed how a macro can be written from scratch. Let me share my screen. Okay, can everyone see this? So I have just now loaded the Benford macro. So we have the Benford manual. Here the Benford, this was through the recorder, right? When we made use of the recorder, this is what we had got. Okay. Thanks to using the recorder. And then we wrote this manually, left to right, top to bottom from scratch. And while developing this, we did not make use of recorder. Maybe a few commands here and there we borrowed. So the idea is we will write the macro from scratch. Okay, that is the idea. And wherever required, we will borrow some portions by recording. So not that I'll be shunning recording completely, but wherever possible, we will, in fact, at most of the cases, we will simply write. So when it comes to adding a chart or something, for that I'm using recorder. But when it comes to calculations, so even pivot table, actually I'm not using pivot table. So the worksheet name is still pivot, but I'm actually making use of this my own code. So we wrote this code last time. I think Shashidharan sir has some question to ask. Shashidharan sir, I think you had raised your hand. Do you have any question to ask? Shashidharan Gopalakrishnan sir, I can see your hand is raised. Do you wish to ask anything? Somehow you are not audible, sir. Maybe you said something, but we couldn't hear it. Okay, fine. So probably you can try if you can use the speaker that is instead of a headset speaker mic or something or the other way around. In the meantime, let me quickly run through this code and we'll do a sort of a revision. Subsequent to the revision, probably Shashidharan sir's query can be taken up. So this is what I wrote. My first line is screen updating is false. So do I need to keep the screen updating on? I'll turn it off. I'll go to data sheet. I'll determine the last row till where my data runs. Then I'm going to enter this header in the called first digit. And then I'm running a loop over here wherein I'm putting this formula in the form of a loop. Okay, one after the other. And again, there is another loop. This is mainly to check, do I have an existing sheet called pivot? What if I have an existing sheet called pivot? What am I doing? I'm going to delete it. For that purpose, I'm going to turn off the display alerts and then immediately after I delete it, I'm going to turn them on once more. And then I'm going to go for an exit for. Now pivot sheet is deleted. Either it was not there or even if it was there, it is deleted. So I'm going to add a sheet called pivot. And then I'm going to run a loop between 1 to 9. Why 1 to 9? Because I'm looking at Benford's law, which talks about first digit as 1 to first digit as 9. So 1 to 9, I'm initializing the value of counter variable as 0. And then I'm running another loop within a loop. So we have a situation where we have a loop here, and within that there is another loop, the loop within the loop, wherein for j equal to 2 to last row, you will plug the first digit. Okay, this is the first digit. If first digit equal to small I, then counter equal to counter plus 1. Okay, the idea is you will count the number of first digits, number of instances where the first digit matches. So first digit is a variable, first underscore digit is a variable where I'm catching the first digit. In this file, if you see, am I using this file? Here it is. Okay, here's my data. So in this data, in the 14th column, I have got this column called first digit. And here I am going to capture the first digit. I'll check whether the first digit matches with my small I as a variable. So first underscore digit is also a variable, small I is also a variable. If they match, then I am going to increment the value of counter by 1. So counter equal to counter plus 1. I'll run this J loop from second row till last row. So till the last row I'll run. This might sound a little boring to do as a human, but for macro it is not a problem. You can give tedious job to macro. Okay. And then I've got some count, right? So I'm going to plot these values. I'm going to plot small I. I'm going to plot counter divided by last row minus 1. This is going to be the proportion. Okay, this is the particular digit. Then this is the proportion. And then here I'm deriving the log 10 of 1 plus 1 by I. So this is Benford's law probability. This is the actual proportion and this is the expected proportion as per Benford's law. So I've used application.worksheet function. Whenever I use application.worksheet function, if I use it anywhere in any code, I can make use of the functions that are available in the worksheet. So when I type application.worksheet function dot, then all this plethora of functions, almost all the functions, most of the functions that are present in Excel are available. They are enlisted uh, alphabetically. You have your familiar count, count a, countif function. So many functions are there. Okay, which are familiar to us. We use them quite often. And these functions can be worked upon the variables. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm using log10 as a function, which is available in Excel sheet, available in VBA also. And using this log10 function, I'm deriving the base 10 logarithm of an expression which involves a variable. Okay, this is something noteworthy. And then I just give the headers. Okay. Thereafter, next time, so this process will be repeated for all the digits. This entire loop will run right from first digit till last digit till ninth digit. Ultimately, you will give the headers. You will select this range, give the number format as percentage up to two decimals. I think this I got through recording. Then I'm going to create a chart. If I create a chart, what will be my source? That source has been given in a rather static manner, doesn't matter because I don't expect the number of digits to be less than or more than 9. 1 to 9, all of them, neither more nor less. Some more attributes related to that. That's it. I'm going to turn on the screen recording. I am going to flash a message that Benford's law computations and chart have been prepared. And then I ends up. So this macro we wrote. Okay, we had clarity on what is to be done. Uh, we need not record 100% macro. So I wanted to just give you once a flavor of how to write macro from scratch. So we have done that. Okay, what is pending is the testing part of it. Okay, we'll do the testing of this. Prior to that, Shashidharan sir, are you in a position to speak now? Just try. Shashidharan sir. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, in that case, you can perhaps type your query. I think in case you are speaking, we are not able to hear you. Yes, Selva Muthukumarji, I think you have also raised your hand. Probably you can unmute yourself and speak. No, Shashidharan sir, somehow you are not audible. For some reason, you are not audible today. Try expressing your query over the chat. Maybe let's try that way. Okay, fine. I suggest, sir, that you can try on your mic, and there is a mic testing option also. Okay, so you can test your mic and see if that works. Otherwise, do consider typing your query. I know you have two queries, but it's going to be cumbersome to type. But rather than the query is going unanswered, you can just explore the possibility of typing it. For now, I would like to go ahead. Let me quickly perform the testing part of this. What I'll do is I'll keep my Excel active, and apart from Excel, I've got my macro here. So here's my macro and my Excel. I'm going to keep it this way. Should we try it? So I'm going to press F8. Last time this file was also shared by way of a Google Drive link, and most of you have this file. So please try this with me. Okay, open this file. This was already shared last time. And now let me try it by F8 method. When you will do your testing, first do it step by step. Don't directly run the entire macro. Let's do it step by step. So I'm going to press F8. For some reason, macros on this project are disabled. I think I will have to reopen this file. Now I have enabled the macros. Now let me run that. So subroutine Benford underscore manual. First thing is screen updating equal to false. Although screen updating is false here, but since I'm in the testing and debugging mode, screen updating will not really turn false. So sheets data.select last row is determined. If it had been some other sheet, just for testing, I'll keep pivot as the sheet and I'll just drag it back. Okay, so sheet data. Can you see the screen has actually got updated? Although screen updating is false, but since I'm testing and debugging mode, break mode, so the screen updating hasn't really been turned off. And our last row is blank to begin with. But then if I press F8, it will be determined as 2359 and cells 1, 14 equal to first digit. Now I already have something. What I'll do is I'll very quickly clear this. I was somewhere here. Okay, I would like to highlight my active cell could be something different, but cells 1, 14 equal to first digit. And this is a particular phrase. So while my active cell is something else, I can put a text in a different cell. And for I equal to 2 to last row, what are we going to do? We are just going to put this formula. So one by one, the cell is plucked. The first digit is plucked. One by one, we get the formula. It just goes on. And then if I've got the drift, okay, this is how I'm getting the initial first digit. And I can just put a break here and I can press F5. So in quick time, it comes here. I can check whether everything got covered and do an Alt tab and press Control down arrow key and just satisfy myself till the last row. The formula has been extended. The formula was written in R1C1 notation. Okay. Okay, now this is as far as the formula is concerned. We have put the formula. Okay. Formula goes over here. And now coming back to the sheets.count. Now we want to see whether there is a pivot sheet called pivot. And if it is there, we need to delete it. So which is the first sheet? When I press F8, I equal to 1. Sheets I dot select first sheet. So first sheet goes with the name sheet 6. For some reason I've got this sheet 6, which is not pivot. So if active sheet dot name equal to pivot, then we are going to do all these things. Because it's not pivot sheet, it skips that part and directly jumps to end if. So between if and end if, whatever is written, that everything is bypassed, I directly come to end if. And then after end if I have next time. So there is nothing that I'm going to do with this sheet. So I just go to the next sheet. Now I is 2. Okay. From 1 it has become 2. So second sheet I'm going to select. Is this the pivot sheet? So there is a sheet called pivot. So I'm going to turn off the display alerts and this sheet will be deleted. You can see the sheet is deleted. And then I'm going to turn on the display alerts once more. Now I've got a third sheet called data. Do I need to proceed any further? I've already deleted my sheet. That was the limited purpose. That purpose is served. Do I need to do anything further? As far as the sheets are concerned, the answer is no. So I'm going to exit now. Exit for I come down. And then we have sheets.add.name equal to pivot. So now that we have got rid of the old pivot sheet, let's insert a new sheet called pivot. So a new sheet gets inserted. And for I equal to 1 to 9. So again, another loop where I value is 1. I is the variable. Its value is defined as 1. The counter equal to 0. Counter becomes 0. And for j equal to 2 to last row. What is last row? We have already determined. So from second row till last row, what it is going to do is it is going to compare your first digit with I. So first digit, how is it defined? I've got a complete hierarchy. I'm sitting here in the sheet called pivot. Doesn't matter. So worksheets data dot cells j comma 40. Okay, what do I have? I can just insert a watch window if I want to. Okay, not compulsory, but if I want, I can keep watching this expression. Worksheets data cells j comma 14. What do I have there? I can keep watching it. I can add a watch. This is what I want. Worksheets data dot cells j comma 14 watch expression. Okay. So I keep watching. What is its value? So right now the value is 9. First digit is 9. So is 9 equal to 1? Now there is one thing. I've got this 9 in double inverted commas as you might see. And this small I is without double inverted comma. Okay, so for some reason this value first digit I'm picking up like this. Worksheets data dot cells j comma 14. Jth row j is 2 and 14th column. Second row 14th column it has 9. Now that is a text. That is a number stored as text. If you want, let us try one thing. So if you want to convert it, uh, we need to write one more line. We did not write it last time. That's why testing is so important. So there is a command called val. What does val do? Val, it's like a VBA function. This val is going to convert a number stored as text into number. So first name, first underscore digit, sorry, first underscore digit, this variable is showing a value which is stored as text. Now I'm converting that into a number. Okay, so I've just inserted this line. The moment I capture first underscore digit, immediately I'm converting that into a number. And then I'm going to make my comparison. So right now it is 9 in double quotes, but if I just move it here, first digit equal to val of first digit when I press F8. Can you see here? Your first digit is now 9 simply. So having this line is handy actually. Okay, otherwise, though your small I is 1, but then 1 in double inverted commas may be treated differently and they will never really match. So your counter will begin at 0 and will never get incremented, so it will stay at 0. That is very much a possibility. Right now, of course, it goes ahead because this condition is not satisfied. So next J, now first digit, now this is 1. Now the next digit itself is 1. It's 1 in double quotes to begin with. Then I run that val thing. So now it is simply 1. So now first digit is 1 and small I is also 1. Both are without double inverted comma. So are they alike? So they are very much alike. So the execution goes to the right side. You can see counter equal to 0. Okay, counter is 0. But now I'm saying counter equal to counter plus 1. So when I press F8, now counter becomes 1. We can keep watching counter also if we want. And add one more watch. Counter, let's watch it. Okay, this is completely optional. If you want, you do it. So now my value of counter is 1. If I press F8, it goes up again. Now what's your first digit? Now your first digit is 8. So 8 is not equal to 1, so I move ahead. Again first digit, now it's 5. They are not equal. Now this is the second time I get 1. Second time I get 1. So when I compare, they are same. So counter equal to counter plus 1. Now this counter will become 2. Are you getting it? So that way we are counting. We are incrementing this variable whenever first digit turns out to be 1. Else we are not doing. So are you getting? Right now my J value is 6. I have checked the first 6 values. If you come to data sheet, The first six values were 9, 1, 8, 5, 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth one we haven't tested as it, but till 5 we have tested. Sixth one is going to start now. So one by one we are checking each value and we'll be that way maintaining a count. We'll derive a count. Okay, so I'll come back here. I'll derive a count. What is first digit? Counter is 2 now. So if you have got the drift, we can run the macro at once. Are you understanding what's happening in this loop? This for next loop of J, are you following that? Okay, we have two loops. Even I loop is also on, and within that J loop is on. So two loops are going on. I loop's value is 1 and J loop's value is 6. Loop inside a loop. Okay, is this part clear to everyone? Hello? Okay, Shashidharanji, incidentally your this thing query got automatically satisfied. So probably you tried testing it at home the other day. So good that it is working. Your second query is maybe you can give an expression to the second query also while your mic is not working, but at least we can use the chat. Or maybe let's see if I proceed further, by then the second query may also get satisfied. Let's continue. So I think I'll run the J loop. I think, I hope, I suppose people are following it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put a break here. Okay, this entire loop, it's going to do it like this till last row, 2359 rows. We are not going to check the execution of 2359 rows. So what I'll do is I'll keep my window here. I have put a breakpoint here and now I'm going to simply press F5. Okay, just for fun, you can pay close attention to counter. Okay, this counter and even this. Look at these two things, these two expressions we are watching, right? Now, if macro goes at its own speed, you will see a rapid change in those values. Okay, I'll just press F5, keep watching it. In fact, it was so rapid, it was not even visible. And somehow we are through. Almost in no time, we are through. So this was a big loop of containing 2359 rounds, but we are through. Okay, at the end of it, what's the value of counter? Counter is 676. How do I interpret this? What does this mean? This means 1 has occurred 676 times. You can cross check if you come to data sheet and if I apply filters here, filter on 1. How many instances do I get? You can see 676 records found, right? Here it says 676 of 2358 records found. So Excel simply ran from top to bottom and it derived 676 as the value. I'll come back to pivot sheet and remove the breakpoint. Now let's see what it's going to do. The subsequent lines go this way. In the pivot sheet, in the cell I plus 1 comma 1. So what is small I? Small I is 1. 1 plus 1 will be 2. Because in the very first row, we plan to put the headers, right? So let us start putting it from the next row onwards. So in the second row, I plus 1 will be 2. So in the second row, but first column, we'll put small I, which is 1. This 1 gets put here. And then I plus 1 comma 2 over there. The proportion counter is 676. Last row is 2359 and we are going to do a 2359 minus 1. So this expression on the whole gets evaluated to 2358. Okay, last row is 2359, but the whole expression is 2358. What's that ratio? 676 by 2358. If I press F8, then it is 0.286684. Right now, it's a little inconvenient expression. It's a decimal with 6, 7 digits. Eventually, we'll handle that when we'll make it a percentage. And then in the third column, in the same row, but in the third column, what are we doing? We are going to evaluate this log 10 into bracket 1 plus 1 by I. This is Benford's law formula. So when I press F8, I get 0.30103. We know this. So that's it as far as digit 1 is concerned. What did the macro do? It checked all the first digits and kept on comparing that with I. Wherever it matched, there was an increment of counter. Eventually, we were left with some value of counter. Okay, so we came to pivot sheet. We made an entry of 1 and then another entry of its count. Okay, and then Benford's law calculation. So that's it as far as I loop is concerned. One round is over. Now we will do the same thing for the next digit, next I. What is the next digit? I value is 1. So if I press F8, now this will become 1 plus 1. That will be 2. So now I value automatically becomes 2. And we have an existing value in counter 676. Should I take that as an opening balance for 2? The answer is no. 2 is a different digit. So we'll start 2's count as 0. We'll not take 1's count as the opening balance for 2. So this counter should be reset to 0, right? That's what this line is doing. At the beginning of every round of I, we'll first reset the existing value of counter to 0. And then J again is going to start from second row to last row. And well, now we know, so I'll rather put a break here. Let's finish everything here. The entire loop will run, then plotting of values, and let's finish that. And I'll just put a breakpoint here at next time. If I press F5, then at once, almost instantly, you can see almost instantly, there's hardly any time elapse. And now we have got it for the second digit also, 0.179813 and 0.1760. Okay. And then finally, we'll put the headers. Okay. So now all I'll do is I'll just run through this. I'll remove the breakpoint here and I'll rather put a breakpoint here. Okay, 2 digits we are through. Can we just finish the other digits? Okay, I'll press F5. Let this entire I loop get over and let macro wait over here. So in its subsequent line, I'll put a breakpoint and I'll press F5. So all the digits in no time. This sounds very tedious. Just imagine doing this manually. You run 2 loops and you check 2359 values and keep count incrementing or not incrementing the counter and do that not once but 9 times actually. That may sound a little tedious, but almost instantly we get the answer, don't we? So macro works at a phenomenal speed, and that's where there's hardly any time required for that. Now let's put the headers. Before I do that, I'll remove the this breakpoint, and then I'll press F8. Digit comes as a header, actual percentage and first law percentage. And these values are selected. What do we do by selecting that? We'll change the number format to percent with 2 decimals. Okay. And now is the turn for chart. So I'll press F8 and I think a chart got inserted. Okay, I think I'll just delete it. Maybe it was not very obvious to everyone. Okay, but if I just take this line up, if I press F8, can you see a chart gets created? What is its source and everything you can define. its dimensions, and I'm getting a bug. Okay, active sheet dot shapes chart one. So it's probably its name is not chart one, it's something else. But can I just go for active chart dot instead of active shapes chart one? Okay, let me try this. This can work. If I press F8, scale width. So dot scale width is not available for active chart. It's something like size or something. Chart type, chart vision. Okay, this is something we can Google. Uh, fine. Because here the problem is that the chart name may not be chart one always. Okay, so whatever it may be, scale width. So I can just put this in Google itself. Let's just take help of Google Baba. So change the scale width. VBA is what I can see. Okay, so this can be another way. So what I've got is maybe this kind of a code I can use. Okay, active chart dot parent. So what I found was now thanks to Google I get this code. Okay, incidentally we are learning how to Google. Okay, so instead of using scale width and scale height, this code has this active chart dot parent and it talks about its height and width. It talks about its reposition also, but probably position is something I'll ignore. If you want, you can have it. What I'll do is uh, just move it here. Sorry, I think I'll have to handle this first and then move this up. Okay, I think I'll have to handle this one. Oops. Another idea is we could name our chart as chart one. Okay, since that is already there. Now let me try that way also. I think I'm just trying to be a little lazy here. Rename a chart using Excel VB. How do we do that? Now I get an altogether differently. Did we have active chart.name? Let me just check. If that works, then we don't even need Google. Something like chart dot name. Okay, we have active chart dot name, right? So I can just say active chart dot name equal to chart one. Now I think this should work. Okay, what I'm doing is, so I just set this part right. I've got this active sheet dot shapes. First, a chart will be created, then its source will be set, and then I just rename it as chart one. That is a jugaad that I'm doing. I rename it as chart one first because my subsequent lines which came from the recorder talk about chart one. So this is the problem with recorder, these kind of static codes come up. Ideally, if we go for some better coding, then it works better somehow. Okay. Let's try running it from scratch. So I'll just delete this. If we can just run it from the top. Okay, let's see whether this works. Okay. Eventually what I've done, eventually I just restored this original code. Okay, no changes here. Just one line added. Okay, this one line, let me put that in the chat box for your immediate reference. I just added one line. Okay, so you have used the following code, Shashidharanji. You changed and then it worked. Okay, okay. Active chat or chat. Good. So Shashidharanji has also, he came across this issue and he fixed it up, I think, using a different line. So maybe with a slightly different approach, he has fixed it. Okay. The second query was regarding chat type. So I eventually came to that organically. Okay. And copying that, then it worked. Very good. So in a way, it turned out well because we are anyways testing and we are seeing it. Okay, so there are two approaches. Sashidharan sir's approach is also there, and my approach over here. Let us see whether it works. Okay, let us just test and see. Okay, that's why testing is so important. You might think everything goes well, but when you test it, then you will come to know. So a chart gets created somewhere. Okay, I set its source. Uh, chart on this. Why am I not able to give it a name? Logically, it should work. Let's understand the syntax. Active chart dot name VBA. Let's see. Naming an Excel chart. Actually, this is in the same syntax. So what happened? Maybe what if I put this line here? I put that line here. Will that help? Let us see. The moment the chart gets created, let me try renaming it. No, I'm getting out of memory though. Out of memory. This seems to be a different kind of an error.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me
Hello.
now,
Hello.
sir? Can you hear me
Yeah, yeah.
now?
Now I can hear you. Now I
Oh,
can hear you
sorry.
like
Uh, At
loud
a
and
very important stage, I was out of my mic. I feel
clear.
really
No
bad
problem.
about it. Anyway,
No problem whatsoever.
sir, can
So
I
I
come
think
in?
we have already
Can I come
provided
in?
a solution.
Can I come in between now?
Come in between as in I did not get you. You can speak.
Can I talk now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, let us keep the first one. First one has been solved. What I did is, in the first case, I did not think about the solution. What I did is, in the selection of the first digit itself, I included the value. When I
Right,
was
right. So
selecting the
dot value.
left first
Dot
digit
value.
string, I added the value before that, the value formula. The value within bracket left the cell name and the first digit. So my selection itself was selected as a value
Right, right, right.
in the
So
data
that could,
in
yeah,
the data in the data sheet. That's where I
correct,
changed. So once the data sheet was changed like that, here I was properly picking it up. I is equal to 1 was picking it up, counter was increasing.
correct.
When I found that the counter was not increasing, I found that it was not identifying the character as a digit. I mean, that's why, and that's how I resolved it. Anyway, here
Right.
you have suggested to add the changing it to value in this part of the code. That is, I think, a better proposition than changing the original data. Thank you for that. Now,
Yeah,
coming to the chart part of it. I found that this, chart, add chart 227.xl line that was throwing an error. So instead
correct.
of doing anything else, I simply recorded a macro for creating a chart. So 2 lines I got.
And you got those two lines, huh? And
Ah,
that is working better. So I
directly.
think
That,
let's do it that way because I'm also getting unnecessarily bugs. Although
uh,
this bug is not a very serious bug, it's more about resizing it. Okay. But then, what did you do with these two lines? You have kept the
you know,
lines as they are. Chart
what I
one.
did is I commented it. I commented it. The existing thing I commented.
Uh,
Active sheet dot shapes add chart 227 Excel
correct.
line. And that was throwing up an error. So I made it as a command. And then
Okay.
what I
Probably
did
you
is,
are getting an error for this line. I am not getting that error over there. I am getting errors mainly here. But you commented the whole thing. So basically, you are that way
no, sir,
not even talking about this
what
resizing
I
part
did
of
is,
it.
so let me just tell you, sir, what I did is active sheet dot shapes dot add chart 227, that line, only that line I commented. Instead, I replaced it by these 2 lines, active sheet dot shapes dot add
Okay,
chart dot.
let's try that. Let's try that.
Because these
So,
are the code which I got by running the macro for selecting in the process.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Now this we need to see this can also happen because of different versions maybe. But my
I
principal
thought it was
concern is,
versions. Okay.
yeah, my principal concern nonetheless is even if I comment this out, okay, and maybe comment
With
this
that,
also.
with that, the same code works, sir. Nothing else I changed. I did not use the chart one and all those stuff. Those things I did not use.
When you say did not
The
use,
chart
is it
number itself
what
I did
of
not use.
what about these two lines? where
No, the
the
chart one and
scale
all
width
was,
and the scale height is being determined.
no, that chart one and all was not there in the original code which we created the other day. I think you have inserted that
Okay.
now, na? Yesterday we did not have the chart one name and all those stuff.
Hey, we had this
No, sir,
scale
it's not
width where
available.
primarily the scale width is getting adjusted.
Okay, that is there. But without mentioning the chart, I'm just seeing that, you know.
Okay.
Ah, yes, chart one was there. Chart one was there. Selected
So
for.
maybe what we will do is what I'll do one thing. Let us just test it anyways. So if I just delete it, but now I'm not sure whether it will be chart one, but does it work? Let us see. So I come to this line. Okay, a chart gets inserted. Now see, okay, this is a column chart to begin with, and then it's made a line chart. So first a column chart, then a line chart. Okay, not bad. And then this one, and then I'm still getting a bug. So I need to figure this out. Probably I'll just figure this out and share with you because this will require some more Googling. Just in case we are very keen on changing the scale width and scale height. So what will be the exact syntax we can Google further on that? Okay. This requires a little bit of trial and error with different things. Okay, but for now, what I'll do is I'll just skip that part because it's a small part and I would like to use the class time mainly for discussion of further concepts. Okay, so this is something I'll share with you, but at the very least, you can have codes like these wherein it works. And then ultimately you get a chart. Okay, only thing the resizing did not happen right now. Resizing is something that can happen once we get that appropriate code and we all can take that as homework. Okay. And let us go to the next thing, that is application dot screen updating equal to true. That is fine. And then the message box we get log comparison and chart have been prepared and so. Okay. So only the last part has given us a little trouble. We can find out a way nonetheless. But I hope you are getting the gist. Right? I hope everybody has understood the execution part of this.
Excuse me, sir. Right now, I
Yeah.
again ran that same code, sir. It worked just now.
Okay. So maybe it's working at your end, but still with chart one,
Only by change,
I'm
only by
getting a
changing,
bug.
sir, only by changing the 227 dot that line, instead
Uh,
of replacing it with these two lines which was created by the recording code, it worked.
okay.
Everything else I kept as such.
Okay, okay, okay. In my case, even 227 was not giving me a problem per se, but
Ah,
my
okay.
real problem is with the scale width because the chart is named as chart one, and I would like to simply work with the active chart. It's a matter of syntax, okay, which is the exact precise syntax which is accepted because directly active chart was not working. So we all can figure out. I mean, we can take that as homework and we can see how we can change the shape size also. Okay, whatever is the shape, its size, its dimensions, if they are to be changed, how we can change, we can just check that. But for now, I would like to go ahead. I think by and large, I hope the macro is clear to everyone. We have seen this. I mean, the same macro now we have done it for the second time. So, but then what we have done differently over here is we have primarily written the macro. We have made a very less use of recordings. So recording was used maybe to the extent of 20% and 80% was you thought of different things and you wrote. You made heavy use of loops. Three loops were involved in all. We made use of loops. In fact, four loops. There is a loop here, then another loop here, then again for I loop, and within that a J loop. So four loops were involved. Screen updating true, false, application display alerts, true, false. We use these kind of things. Okay. And what else? Message box also we use. So these things are never captured in recording. My point is that the kind of code that we have used, a large portion of that can never come in recording, and we have now graduated to that level. Okay, today is our second last session. Okay, we have reached to that level. By the way, our next session is not happening on 8th March. Okay, let me take this opportunity to quickly announce this. Okay, our next session will not be happening day after tomorrow. Originally, the schedule was disclosed as our last concluding session on 8th March. But 8th March happens to be Women's Day, and there are some other programs also planned. So we will have it the next Wednesday. Okay, next Wednesday, that will be 15th March. Okay, so our last session is on 15th March. In a way, it's a blessing in disguise, I would say, because it gives you about 9 days for you to try different things. Okay. And then on the last day, we can probably discuss some macros developed from your side also. I'll see if I can send you some homework things. Okay, some homework assignments. Let us take advantage of this gap. And if you can during the week practice developing some macros, then we can make a discussion on the last day. Okay. So today I would like to take the discussion ahead with respect to some more ideas. Uh, and for that purpose, I think I will use this same macro as an example of that. Okay, this very same macro. If I have to use an example, then I'll do that. Till here, everybody has followed, I believe. Now here, what we did was, how did we come across this issue? We how did we handle this issue that there might be an existing pivot sheet, and this pivot sheet I would like to delete if there is an existing sheet. The same thing can be handled in a slightly different way. Okay, it is possible to handle it in a slightly different way. Okay, so I'll just type something. Probably what I'll do is I will insert a new module just to avoid confusion. I'll go for first of all, let us look at the project explorer. Okay, I want everyone to try this with me. We already have this file. So we have this Benford underscore manual. Everyone has it. I'll insert one more module here. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to learn what is known as error handling. So I just rename it as error handler. And for this purpose, what I will do is I'll forget everything else. Let us focus only on deleting this pivot sheet, if any. Okay, but then we will handle it a little differently. So what I'll do is I'll start with this line. Okay, only this much line you copy paste. Sheets dot add dot name equal to pivot. Okay, now if I directly run this line, do I already have a sheet called pivot? I already have a sheet called pivot. And now I'm trying to insert another sheet. What will happen? Let me just demonstrate. Okay, if I just make a simple procedure like this, a one-liner procedure to begin with, we'll add more lines. But to begin with, only this line, sheets dot add dot name equal to pivot. Okay. So when I press F8 and F8 and again F8, I get an error. What does it say? Runtime error 1004. This that name is already taken. Try a different one. So which is my error code? My error code is 1004. I got this error. Okay. So what do I do now? So I'll press this debug button. Now this can always happen. So what I would like to do is I would like to plan a code called error handler. Plan a section of code called error handler. So before this line, I foresee that this error may come. Sometimes there will be an existing pivot sheet, and that's why I cannot rename the new sheet as pivot. So what I'll do is I'll write here, and you also write with me. Okay, this first procedure is written, right? Before that, you write on error go to error handler. What is this error handler? I've written this line. This line is very important line. Let me paste it in chat box also. Shashidharan sir, you have a question?
No, sir. Actually, what I was about to tell was that I mean, apart when I came across these two problems, I wanted to repeatedly test with the same data and same file. So what I did is I added one line in the beginning to
Okay.
delete the existing data in that column M in the data sheet,
Okay. Yeah,
and
that's good
so
actually.
I could repeatedly run that. Anyway, pivot sheet we are locating and deleting it in the code itself.
Correct.
So in the same file, repeatedly
Mhm.
stage by stage running, I want to again start from the beginning. So I deleted the data available in the column M and then again started. So these two lines also I initially added again by running or deleting the data in a selected column. What is the code to be written? I ran it, recorded the macro and copy pasted it, and then repeatedly I was using it. I just
Acha,
wanted to
very
test.
nice. Great, great, great.
That's all, sir.
So
Thank you.
yes, you can do a little bit of customization in the macro that we have built. See, what will happen is, and that's why I want to actually give homework, considering that our session is getting postponed, because the advantage is that I want all of you to try it, and then it will be real fun. Like some task we have taken up. Okay, if you write a macro for it, each one of us will actually write totally differently. That I guarantee. All of us will think differently, will you make use of different commands, but still all macros could be right. That is more important. That is very interesting. Okay, so everyone will have some minor variations, minor or major, even major variations, maybe altogether different approaches. So that we see in case of normal Excel workings also, and especially so in case of macros. So yeah, you can do that. Fine. I'll just lower your hand for now. Okay. So for now the same thing. Now I'm also not doing anything different, but now that same point I'm handling through a different approach. So I have written on error go to error handler. Now what is this? This error handler is going to be a section in my macro. Typically we place it towards the end. So what is this error handler? Error handler is a label effectively. We have used go to command before also. Okay, go to ABC, go to XYZ. Similarly, now it is error handler. So this error handler, I'll press enter, 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 and I'll paste it here somewhere. Then again, I'll press enter. So if I get an error, I foresee that I might get an error. So if I do get an error, what will I do? I'll come to this section called error handler, and then I'll do the subsequent things. Okay. So what is the idea? While renaming it, because the sheet got inserted, sheets.add is not a problem. But while renaming it, it was a problem. It was an error. Correct. So let's do one thing. Let us first of all capture whatever is the name. Okay. Let's capture whatever is the name. So I'll just use a variable called act sheet just to understand whatever is the active sheet name. Okay. So I'm writing it as act sheet equal to active sheet dot name. Always type everything in lowercase. ACT act sheet. This is a variable, and in that I'm capturing the active sheet's name. It's not getting renamed to pivot. So what is its default name? I can see the default name in my case over here right now is sheet 2. Maybe in your case it could be sheet 1 or sheet 3 also. Okay, that's not important. Whatever is it, let's quickly capture it before we lose that. Okay, so act sheet equal to active sheet dot name. When I press enter, automatically this A becomes capital, this S becomes capital, this N becomes capital. It tells me that I am on the right path. Okay, so active sheet dot name. All these commands you might get into that library. And now what I'll do? Why did I get this error? I got this error because there was an existing sheet called pivot. There is no other reason. Okay. Still, there can be other reasons why I might get error. So I'll just write it this way. If actually I should have written this line before this. I'll write it here. If air dot number equal to 1004, then the idea is we'll do this only if we get the error number as 1004. You are trying to add the sheet and the error number was 1004. We saw that if I press F8, then it will show me. I shall block if without end if I did not write here end if. If I run it for the second time, again I get this runtime error 1004. So the error number is 1004. So I'm saying if air dot number equal to 1004, then do this. What am I going to do? The first thing that I'm going to do is in act sheet variable, I'm going to capture the active sheet. By the way, immediately put end if also. Since after this, then there is a line break. Let us also put end if. Okay. And then act sheet equal to active sheet dot name. And then what we'll do? Then let us try to delete the sheet called pivot. Okay, how to delete a sheet? So I have given you the code compilation here. Macro code library. Let me open. Let me also try to rely more on this. That way you will come to know how to use it. If I go to this module called library, I can search over here, delete, delete a column, delete a row, delete an Excel file, delete checkboxes. Somehow delete sheet is not there, which is very interesting. Anyways, but do we really need the library? Actually, I forgot that we have used delete sheet so many times. So what we are doing is we are using active sheet.delete. I would like to experiment. Let's try to see if we can avoid active sheet.delete. So active sheet.delete is what we had used last time. If I go back to this module 1 and if I write pivot, we'll see if this works. Do I really need to activate the sheet? My active sheet could be something else, but let me quickly delete this sheet. Okay, I'll delete this sheet. And on second thoughts, even this may not be necessary. We can directly rename because you are not activating pivot sheet. Na? If you are not activating pivot sheet, your active sheet remains the same sheet. So we can very quickly say active sheet dot name. I can write this. Let it stay. Let it stay. If I want, I can disable it later. But I think I can very much write active sheet dot name equal to pivot. Okay, so what's the general flow? The general flow is this way. you foresee that there can be an error, so you just declare on error. If you get an error, don't flash that error. Go to error handler. Maybe I might have provided something. Then I'm trying to add the sheet. Sheets.add.name equal to pivot. Okay. And if I get an error, I'll come here. If error number is 1004, then I'll capture the active sheet name just in case. You will delete the sheet and then active sheet will be renamed as pivot. Okay. And then you can use a command called resume because there might be further code. There might be some further code like in we got this error while renaming the sheet, right? But there is a lot more work to be done. We need to finish that entire Benford's macro. So typically what we use is we use the resume command. Okay, resume. But resume from where? So you need to give a location. Again, a label. Okay, you need to give again a label. So what will be the label? So I'm just using back. Can I use the word back? Okay. Resume back. Okay. So back is serving as a label and that back I'll place here. Okay. For want of better label, I couldn't think of anything else, so I wrote back. So this is how the structure lies. Okay, and then I can have the entire macro. So yeah. So I mean the rest of the portion I can actually copy from here. Then for I onwards, everything will come here. Till here. All this portion will come as a part of this. Okay, I'm not going to put here, but all that portion will actually come. Just for a moment, I'll put here. This action will reset opposite. Okay. So all this will come here. So in a full-fledged macro, this is how the error handler is positioned. So on error, go to error handler. We'll try to add the sheet. We might get an error. So we jump down. Error handler is at the bottom. Okay. And if error number is 1004, then we'll do all this. Else resume back. Okay. Once we do all this, then resume back. Where is back? Back is here. And then we do the subsequent thing. Okay. What did we have before that? The screen updating. Okay. Uh, this portion also. Okay. I anyways copy this portion also. Screen updating equal to true. So even screen updating equal to false. So all this, let me just copy. The only substitute is this part. This part we are substituting and we are trying to achieve it in a different way. Okay, so almost the same thing, but a slight different approach here. Does it work? Let us see. So what have I done? I have effectively taken the entire macro from the previous thing. Only substitution is I did not use this part. Okay, whatever I have highlighted here, I did not use this part. I directly jumped to sheets.add.name equal to pivot. I directly attempted inserting the sheet and renaming it. Inserting is one thing, but inserting and renaming it as pivot. Okay, that might give me an error. So then I go down. I have planned an error handler. So on
Sir,
error,
may
go
I,
to error
may I,
handler.
sir, may
Yeah,
I? One
yeah, yeah,
question.
yeah,
So when you
yeah.
are putting the back and this error handler, the end sub will come after the error handler portion, no? Is it?
Correct. Very good question.
After
So
the
end
message
sub
of
is
error handler
after
comes the
the
end sub.
error handler. End
Oh,
sub has to be always the last one. Your
okay, okay.
error handler is is some portion of your code which is trying to handle an error, but
Okay.
within the same procedure. So it has to be before end sub.
Okay.
And then how do we solve this? Because, if I draw a hint from your question, what's really troubling you or disturbing you is, what if I don't come across an error? If I don't come across an error, or even if I've come across the error, I've fixed it, I've gone back, I've finished everything. Should I run this once more? Because I flash the message box. After flashing the message box, this portion is still remaining. I have not yet finished the macro because end sub is not yet executed. So this will get executed. This is a label. You will skip this. Then you will actually attempt to execute this. Maybe error number 1004 is still in the memory. So all this it will try to do, and then I might enter into an infinite loop. I don't know. So what we do is we place this at the end, and just before error handler, we put one more command called exit sub. Okay, what is exit sub? Exit sub needs to be distinguished from end sub. Okay, this exit sub you need to place just before your error handler. Okay, exit sub will prematurely finish your macro. End sub is necessarily your last line. Exit sub is somewhere in between. Yes, Shashidharanji?
No, sir, I am through with my question. Sorry, I
You're
forgot
through.
to lower my hand.
Ah,
I'm doing.
yeah.
Okay.
Just okay. Okay, so exit sub is the command, and that will come just before error handler. So we'll run everything, and if we have successfully reached till message box, then we'll exit. So this portion will come into picture. This portion which lies between exit sub and end sub will come into picture only and only if there is an error. Because if there is no error, or if there is error which has come but which has been fixed, in a sequential execution, this will not get executed automatically. This will get executed only if there is an error, and that error is on. Unless we fix it, we won't come here. Okay. So I'll just demonstrate this. Okay, very quickly. I have done this at my own speed. I'm not sure whether everybody's with me. Okay, I'll arrange to share this file, but let us understand what's happening. So we have error handler. Yeah, all the other code I've copy pasted. Only thing where that point comes to insert a sheet and rename it as pivot. I'm doing that first. Okay, in my previous approach, I deleted the sheet first. Here I am directly attempting to insert it. It might give me an error. I know that. So that's where I've got this line before on error, go to error handler. Then I've got this entire error handler code to handle the error, so-called error. And if error dot number equal to 1004, then act sheet equal to active sheet dot name, and then sheets pivot dot delete active sheet dot name equal to pivot resume back. This is my code. End if. Okay, let us run this once. I got n number of sheets. That's okay. Try to run it now using F8. Screen updating is false. Sheets data dot select. Last row. All this is fine. So this will just get executed. I'll very quickly come here. Now this will be more interesting. Okay, let's see this. Okay, on error, go to error handler. I press F8. And sheets.add.name pivot. Do I have that sheet? I already have a sheet called pivot. But because I have inserted this code on error, go to error handler, and that is Excel has already read that line. So when I press F8, I don't get an error message. but in fact I jump to this section. So user will not even come to know that error got generated and we handled it internally. Okay, predictable errors, even if they got generated, we can handle them internally. That is the message I'm trying to give here. And I'm saying if error dot number equal to 1004, then okay, what is my active sheet now? See, in the process, a sheet called sheet 4 got inserted. A sheet called sheet 4 got inserted. To be on a safer side, I'm going to capture that. So act sheet is active sheet dot name. Right now its name is sheet 4. I have captured that. Now I'm trying to delete this sheet pivot.
Sir,
Okay,
we
my
may need
active
to
sheet
upload
is something different.
we may need to
Acha,
upload alert message also.
that's another thing. Let us application dot display alerts equal to false because it will be unnecessarily a burden for the user and it will give a hint to the user that something like this is happening. He will not be able to take a call actually. Okay, so I'll just turn off the display alerts. Application dot display alerts equal to false, and then we will attempt to delete it. So it gets deleted. Interesting thing was my sheet was not activated. Still, I could delete it. My earlier active sheet was sheet 4, and it stays as active sheet. So in fact, I can delete this line. Now I think I can delete it. I will not really delete it. I'll just disable it because we are here to learn. I'm not going to delete a single line. So long as there is no syntax error, I'm not going to delete any single line. Anything gets generated, let it be a learning opportunity that such and such thing is possible. Okay, at least we'll get exposed. But if I'm actually developing a macro, I'll delete all the green lines just to declutter my macro. I turn it back once more. Active sheet dot name equal to pivot. Now I rename this new sheet as pivot. Resume back. So I come back. Okay, this has to be resumed. This cannot be go to. The way error handler is designed, once you finish your error handling procedure, it's always resume command. Okay, the command is always resume command, not go to. Okay, only initially on error go to. You finish your error handling and then it's resume. So resume, resume back. Okay, so now I'm back and now I can finish the other things. Okay, I'll finish all the other things and let me come till here. Okay, it's a new sheet. It's an altogether blank new sheet. The other macro code we have already tested. Okay. And now let us quickly run the macro. So I'm going to press F5. Okay, on pressing F5, almost instantly the thing got executed. And now we are ready for our this thing. Okay, chart and everything came up. If you see, chart also got generated everything. And now the message box, I'll flash the message box. Okay, sounds good. And now should I run the subsequent portion in the absence of exit sub, the subsequent lines will get executed once more. Okay, air dot number. I think this won't come because after we run the resume command, this air dot number gets extinguished. Okay, what's the air dot number if I just go with immediate window and check? So because of that resume command, it got reset to 0. That won't be an issue even if it runs. But technically, the correct method is exit sub. Why do you want to go to the error handler now? There is no error. We we got the error, we fixed it, and we have resumed our journey. So why do we want to run this command? I mean, why do we want to run this command? Sorry. So let's just exit the subroutine. So when I press F8, the subroutine exits prematurely. The subsequent lines are not done. I am out of the break mode now. Now there is no break mode. You're getting it? So now if I run this macro, okay, I would just like to show this quick execution. Okay, this is tried and tested. So now if I go to developer macros and if I choose this one, which one? Error handler. So I have got this procedure called error handler. If I run this, I don't even come to know. Okay, an error came that old sheet got deleted, new sheet got inserted, new sheet got renamed. Everything happened. As a user, I clicked the button and very smoothly the macro progressed. Even if error came, it got resolved internally and I get to enjoy the final output. Have you understood this concept of error handler? Okay, another fresh approach with the same example. The same thing could be done. See, we have got three macros actually now. There is a Benford manual, Benford recorder, and Benford with error handler. Let me rename this using properties window. Instead of module one, I just call it Benford underscore error handler. Using error handler, we got it. Three valid macros. Any of the three are correct. Like all the three are correct. Any of the three you can run and you'll get the same output. Okay, but different approaches. Okay, have you understood the concept of error handler at a conceptual level? I think let me share this file with everyone just in case somebody is catching up. Just give me a moment. I'm just uploading it on my Google Drive. Just give me a minute. I'm just now let me just check. It's over here. I'll just get a link for that. Okay, let me share the link in the chat box so that if anybody wants, you can download. Okay, please download using this link. Okay, any questions on this part? Just download the file and go through the macro. If you have any questions, you can ask. Maybe if you have any questions, you go through that peacefully, and in case you develop any questions, those also you can ask even later, I mean to say. Okay, what you can do is if you have any questions, you please send them to WRC. Okay, you before our concluding session, you do one thing. You go through all the files, all the material once more. If you have any questions, You compile them and ideally send it as a single email. Don't send it as multiple emails. Send it as a single email to WRC and they can forward the email to me. So that way, if there are any questions, I can go through your questions. I can keep my responses ready and next time we can have a discussion on them. Okay, like a doubt solving. Okay, so if you have any questions, if you go through the material and if you develop some questions, you don't necessarily have them now, but something comes to your mind, please share it over email beforehand so that I will also get some chance to go through them beforehand and keep the solutions, keep the answers ready. So that once we connected, we have limited time with us. We'll try to immediately discuss the answers. All right. Now I'm going to share more file with you all. I'll come to that later. We already have one file, user defined function. We haven't touched that. So let us touch that now. Okay, we have a file called user defined function. Can you see that? Okay, please open that file user defined function, UDF. Okay, can everyone see my screen? So we'll take this ready-made example and then we will try to create one function also. Okay, that is the minimum agenda for today. Then if time is left, we'll do some more things. Okay, function sum round. Can you see this? Requesting everyone to open this user defined function. This is one file which was pending. Rest all files I think we have done. Okay, rest all the files we have done. Has everyone opened this file user defined function? What is a user defined function? This function will be a function which exists only in your Excel. So do we have a function called sum round? If I go to this particular file, let me, I think, close the other files just to declutter them. Okay, user defined function. Do I have an Excel function called sum round? There are so many functions. Now I do have sum round. Okay, in my case, actually, that's because I've got this file open. But what if we close this file? Let's close this file. Okay, let us close this file and let's open a blank new Excel workbook. Now can we see sum round? Now we can't see sum round, correct? Only because that file was open, we could see sum round. So Excel by default doesn't have a function called sum round. It has so many other functions which has sum in its name, but not sum round. Now if I open that file once more, let's say it comes to my mind that if we had a function called sum round, it would have made a lot of sense. For some reason, you want to introduce this as a function. What do we mean by function? It is available in all your Excel calculations. Okay, I want to create a function such that that function is available for my use in my Excel in any file. How we can do that, that we will see today. Okay, is everyone ready? Hello? Is everyone ready for this? Let's understand.
Yes, sir.
So function sum round, the name is sum round. And this was a question which was asked to me probably at the beginning. I think somebody had asked this question that if we go for sub, okay, typically for sub, anything you might write, and then if you press enter, you will get an end sub also, and then you have a pair of brackets. What do we do with this bracket? So frankly, we don't do anything in subroutine. In subroutine, this pair of brackets has got no role to play. But when it comes to a function, it has a role. So what do we write in the pair of brackets? We write the arguments. So I want to do something like sum round. What is the idea? Let us discuss the idea. The idea is I want to do it this way. I have a set of numbers. I want to add them. Before I add them, I would like to round off each number. So this is what I have done side by side, just for demonstration. I used a function called round and I'm rounding off. Okay, 71.51, it gets rounded off to 72. When I go try to do it to the nearest integer. Nearest integer means decimal places will be 0. So my second argument in round function is 0. This is the normal round function in Excel. Nothing extraordinary about it. So 24.73 becomes 25 and 38.05 becomes 38. We know this. This is how round works. Like even if I go for a 2 decimal, you can see these are all free from decimals actually. And then eventually if I add up, my total turns out to be 640. Here my total was, my actual sum for the actual numbers was 639.02, but here it is 640. So I want to develop a function called sum round to achieve this 640 directly. Here I have made a working. Can I get a function directly such that if I show these cells, automatically it should give me 640? So that is the logic for sum round. You're getting my point? So this is a pre-developed function because this is only for illustration. So I've given the name. First thing is I give it a name. What name? Sum round. Obviously, this name should not conflict with your existing names. It should be a different innovative name. So the function name is sum round, and this function is going to have two arguments. One is RNG. This is a variable which I define it as range. So you give me a range. The variable is RNG. It will be nothing else but range. And NO is the next argument, which is a number. Okay, how many decimal numbers or how many decimal places is what I, because when you talk about rounding off, you need to tell me round off to the nearest integer or up to one place, one decimal or two decimals or five decimals, whatever. So I define sum around as a function. It has its argument. And overall, what do you expect sum round to give? Sum round should give me some value, which is also a number. So this is long. Okay. These are variable types. You can either write long or you can even have it as a double or anything. Okay. Let's try to read it first. I think even if we read, we shall be able to understand now. And then we will actually do it. So dim cell as range, dim content as double. So two more variables I'm introducing here. They are not part of my function's arguments. They are additional variables for internal working purposes. So dim cell as range. Please note that the word cell is written and not cells. Cells, if you write CLLS, then it is not a variable. So if you simply write cells equal to 1, yeah, I might use it, but I'll be skeptical to use it as a variable because see the C was made capital. Okay. If I simply use cell, then this cell doesn't become capital C. Okay, I personally prefer to use such variables which are not having their own meanings in Excel in VBA. So cell is not used directly, cells is used. So dim cell as range. This is another variable, and this variable has been given the type range. Dim command is used for that. We are aware of that. Dim content as double. This is not compulsory, but I have written it over here just to be on a safer side. And then for each next loop has been used. What is for each next loop? We had discussed that in our earlier lessons. For each next loop. What is this for each next loop? It is typically used for each cell in a range. Okay. Uh, for each member of a unit. So this is like a unit, and for each member of a unit. What is my unit? My unit is a range. So for each cell in the range. So for each cell in RNG is the range from where RNG will get defined. The user will define RNG. When he'll write the function, when he'll give the function, he will have to give the arguments. So user will specify RNG, and for each cell in RNG, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to capture in a variable called content the value of the first cell for each cell. So first component of your unit is this first cell. When it comes to range, range is composed of cells. So first member of this is the first cell. What do you have? That will be captured in content. And then that content will be rounded off. Content equal to round function. Round function is there in VBA also. We'll do rounding off of content. So the new value of content will be the existing rounding off of the existing value of content to how many places? To NO places. To as many number of places as defined by the user here. And then I use another variable called sum round because this is undefined to begin with. Its value is 0. And you can see why sum round is used because that is the name of my function. So final calculation. How sum round is defined? It is sum round plus content. So the new value of sum round is existing value of sum round plus the content as it got redefined in the previous step. I'm adding the content. So when it comes to first cell, in the first cell to begin with, this is 0. And to that we add content. But then this is a loop, next cell. So in the next cell, again content will be captured for the second cell. Second cell, this will be the content. We'll round it off and we'll add to the existing value. So it's like accumulating. First a value, we assign it to a variable, then the next value we add that. Then the third value we add that, fourth value we add that. We round off and we add, we round off and we add. And that's how sum round will be determined. Ultimately, when we come to end function, we will have some value of sum round that is determined already, and that will be displayed to the user. Okay, this is how it works. So how do I go about doing this? I want all of you to try this now. Okay, this function is there. We have read it. I hope you have got some understanding, if not full understanding. Okay, but maybe some parts are clear, some parts are unclear. Let us first run this function once, apply this function and let us see. And then we'll do a step-by-step execution also. Okay, so I'll start here equal to sum round. Now, because this is very much open, we can see the function sum round, correct? We can see the function. Now the file is open. So you can press tab and you can insert it. Go to any blank cell of this thing. Okay, insert the function. Now the distinction between this function and the other functions. We have so many functions with sum. Like if I go for sum ifs or if I go for sum product, if I insert that function, I can see the arguments. These are the function arguments. Because this is not my function, this is Microsoft's function. Microsoft developed it. This is not my development. So I can see the function here with the arguments. But when it comes to sum round, I can't see the arguments. You should know the arguments by heart. Whether you like it or you don't, that is how Microsoft has designed it. If you don't like it, complain it to Microsoft. Don't complain it to me. Okay. So we'll have to live with it that the arguments are not shown. Ideally, Microsoft should have shown that. It knows it should have shown those, but it hasn't. So this is my range. This is my first argument. I need to memorize it. First thing is range. Second thing is how many decimals. So I want this to be 0. Okay. I close the bracket and hit enter. A hash name error. I shouldn't have got this. Is it working well at your end? Just check. Are you also getting hash name?
Yes, it does not work.
Comes as a mystery to me because it's even visible. RNGS. Let me try one thing. So that I'm getting hash. I think I might have to reopen Excel.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Just a minute. I'll just try this one. Show
Okay.
okay. Getting hash name actually.
Sir,
Please go ahead with your question.
sir, we just, the sum round has first time appeared in the last line. Okay, I mean last but one line. Before that, sum round has to have some initial value, no? We have said sum round is equal to sum round plus content. But this sum round does not have an initial value.
No, that's fine. If you don't define an initial value, then initial value by default is 0.
Okay, okay.
So I took some liberty on that.
Okay.
I'm just wondering why am I getting this hash name error? Despite the fact that I very much have some round as visible for some inexplicable reasons. Uh, okay, let me try one thing. So I have this sum round now. Okay. Uh, what if we run this one by one? I'll just block it. First, let me try and then I'll also just figure out. Seems to be some issue. It's not coming here at all. So, this step into is not working. So okay, let's try it here. For some reason, this function is not taking off actually. There is no spelling mistake also. Some round everything is correct. Some problem actually. Just uh, just let me try to retrieve another file if I can. Just one moment. Just a moment, I'm just testing. No, I'm still getting the error. Well, it must be something trivial, but I will have to check into it why we are getting this error today. Uh, because this always worked otherwise. Is everyone getting the error or is it working fine at anybody else's end? Like, I just want to know whether it's an error due to my own local issues or is everyone getting the error? Anyone else is trying that along with me? The sum round function, UDF, user defined function. Acha, Brijesh, Shashidharan ji, both are getting errors. Uh, Let me also check if we. Wait a second, I'm just checking.
Sir, can I ask a doubt? I mean, I do not know whether it is the same real reason, but I have a small doubt, sir.
Okay. Acha. Okay,
Uh,
okay, okay, okay.
we are selling,
I got it. I got it.
we are declaring cell as a variable,
Uh,
and then we are referring to the cell also as cell. I mean, is there any contradiction or something in that?
no, no,
We are saying dim cell as range.
that's not the issue. Okay, I think I got it. Just let me try it once now.
I do not understand it.
Something actually very trivial was beyond my. Okay, now I'm getting it. All right. This was something I think Microsoft introduced it recently. So again, probably I should have shown this to you, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't share. Okay, let me share my screen now. So what I was doing was I just Googled. Now this was something, frankly, this was working previously. Okay, now off late it has stopped working. So I just Googled on this. User defined function in Excel VBA giving hash name error. I don't know why this happened because this used to work previously and today it's happening. Okay, let's ask Google Baba. So I put this in Google. I came across this Stack Overflow link hash name error in for a VBA function. And then I went through a few things, yeah. And eventually somebody had mentioned this. You are getting that error because you have a module with the same name as the function. Okay, so find purchase is the name of the module. Okay, and this fellow who had written this function, his function name, where is it? His function name, I presume, was also find purchase. Change the module name, say to find underscore purchase, and everything will be fine. See the image below. And this worked in my case also. So what we need to do is we'll come back to the Excel VBA. This function is sum round. Okay. And this module was also named as sum round. Okay, it was allowed previously, but now I think Microsoft is disallowing it for some reason best known to it. So resultantly, we are getting an error. So just do one thing, rename the module to anything else. Okay, rename the module to anything else. You know, these kind of things also happen sometimes. And it's a learning lesson. Everything is a learning lesson. So again, something inexplicable, Google it. We'll get an answer. So what I've done is I've renamed it to module one, or it could have been renamed as some underscore round. Anything apart from some round. Okay. And now if you try it, now if I go back to my Excel and if I insert equal to some round and if I highlight this, this is my range and how many decimals? 0. If I close bracket and hit enter, I get 640. Now does it work for you? It's working for me now. I'm getting 640 as the answer. Okay, the plain total is 639.02. And if I individually do apply a round function and then I take a total at the bottom, total is 640. I get this directly with the help of this function sum round. Is this function working in your case now? Hello? Just check it for yourself. Okay, we just need to rename the module. Okay, this is a new rule apparently. You need to rename the module. Your module name cannot be same as the function name. And thanks to that, we were getting this error. Now it's gone. Right, is it working now? Okay, Brijesh ji has confirmed that it works. Shashidharan ji, does it work at your end?
Trying, sir. I'm just trying. Let me just see.
Okay, just try it. Just rename the module to anything else. How to rename it? You will need a properties window, view properties window, and in properties window you click on the module and just rename it to anything else apart from the function name.
Just trying. I'm somehow or other. I'm not able to click on the worksheet outside the module. I'm just trying to see what happened. I don't know.
Okay. Uh,
Why is it?
you come to this particular file.
Uh,
Okay. The file
sir,
is open, right?
sir,
User defined.
why could it be that I am not able to come out of the VBA and click on the Excel sheet proper?
No, but
I don't know why. Okay.
so you have renamed your module, right? That part is over.
Oh, that I have done, but I am still in that
Just
module.
close the VBA part. Try to
Okay.
close the VBA part.
Okay.
Maybe it's on break mode or something.
Stop the
Assembly.
debugger and then again come back.
Ah,
Uh, some probably. Yes, 0. Yes, it works, sir.
it works, na? Okay. So that was the small issue, petty issue. I thought it would be something trivial. Okay, but unless we Google it and we find it out, we won't know. Anyways,
In fact,
now, yeah.
I did one thing. I changed the function itself as some underscore round instead of changing the module name.
Ah, so
I
it's
did
one
that
and
way
the
around.
same thing. Yeah. So you
But to
can
be,
accordingly do it if you
I'm
want.
sorry to say that to be very frank, I was not able to rename the module. That is the reason.
Acha, acha.
I don't
See,
know.
sir, for renaming the module, now you click on the module, whatever it
Okay.
is, and then
Okay.
you will rename it through properties window. You will need the
Properties.
properties window.
How
Okay,
do I
over
get it?
here
I'll have to
in view, you click on properties window,
view. Okay. View
and
property.
then over down over here, you need to
Okay, sir.
write.
Okay. Understood. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now this function exists in this file. Okay, so that particular bug is resolved. Okay. Now if I close this file, suppose I come to a book one. If I come to a book one, then the function won't be available. Okay, the function exists there, it worked there, fine. But if I want to make it available universally, then what do I do? Then you need to follow a small procedure. Okay, open that file once more in case you have closed it. Okay, so ours was this exercise files, right? I think this was the other one. Okay, this was the file in my case. Okay, it works. This particular function works, all that is fine. Now what I'll do is, now if we want to lend this function to the entire application, then we need to follow a slight procedure. Okay, we need to follow a slight procedure. I'll click on file, then save as. Okay, file, save as, and then you need to change the file type as Microsoft add-in, Excel add-in, sorry. Okay, file, save as, and then change the type to Excel add-in dot XLAM file. Okay, there is an Excel 97 2003 add-in. Don't go for that. Simply Excel add-in. Can you locate it? Automatically, the file path will also change. Okay, automatically the file path will change. Okay, don't be bothered about that. Okay, it gets stored in your admins, app data, roaming. Maybe your path and my path slightly varies. Let us not quarrel on that. Make sure that the file type is Excel add-in. Okay, and then press the save
Sir,
button.
is it due to a change in version that my this file type Excel add-in does not show that star.xlim within bracket? That is not
No, no,
seen.
that is whether you want to see the extension. So that's an operating system level change that you need to make.
Okay, so I do not see that, but still
But
I can say
anyways, that's fine.
it's safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
If it's Excel add-in, not an issue. Okay. Now I'm getting this message because I had already tried it. You may not get this message. That's okay. Ultimately, if it is saved as a .xlam file, okay, now you do one more thing. First thing is we have saved this file. Now, second thing is you go to file, then you go to options, then you go to add-ins. Okay, file options add-ins, and then you have manage Excel add-ins and you press this go button. Okay, now I am getting this checkbox because I was trying different things. We were getting the error. So I was just trying different things. Okay, so I'll just cancel this. Okay. So you may not see the checkbox by default. You'll have to click on browse. If you
Sir,
click on browse, you will be
can
able
you
to see your thing in add-ins now.
can you show that route once more, sir? I mean, I'm coming to file options and add-ins,
And
and then
then down you have this file options,
Excel add-ins.
add-ins, Excel add-ins. Just press the go button.
Okay, okay,
Just
okay.
press the go button,
So I'm also
and
getting
then
a
you
checkboxes. I'm also
ah,
having checkboxes.
yeah, yeah. And then you click on browse on that, because by default you won't have your user defined function. So you click on browse and then you choose your user defined function. Actually, we should have named it as some round or something. Okay, but ठीक we should have renamed while saving it as a .xlim file. We should have renamed it, but that's okay. Right now, pick whatever it is and press OK. Okay, I'm getting this question because I already had that checkbox. So I'll press it. Okay, eventually you choose it and then you tick it. Okay,
So
now
it
can you
asks
see
me,
that checkbox?
do you want to replace it? I will say yes,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Just press yes in case it asks it. And then you get this checkbox, tick it
Okay.
and press OK.
There only one question. So this add-in has gone with this sample data which we have kept in. Does it make any
No,
difference?
no, no, no. Only the function gets added. The
Okay.
data doesn't get added. Because it's
Okay.
not a .xlsx file, it's an add-in. So only that code went actually.
Okay. Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
so now if I close this file, in fact, ideally you should close the entire Excel application once. Okay, it is recommended that you close the entire Excel once you finish this and reload your Excel. So if you observe very carefully, your add-in will get installed. See, I mean, it's not always very obvious, but it shows that opening. If you observe very keenly, then you might see that. And now this is a blank Excel workbook, a new Excel workbook. If I try to write equal to sum round, now this function is available. And you can test it with some data. You can type your own numbers, something like,
So when I am saving the Excel file also, it is asking me whether you want to override the changes. I'll have to say yes, right?
yeah. That's like a normal changes that you might have done. Okay, so I've cooked up some numbers. Okay, any random numbers, and then if I apply sum round here, this is my range. And how many decimals? Let's say one decimal, suppose. If I go for one decimal, then my answer is this. Yeah, I think this is a matter of coincidence that for one decimal I got this answer. Since I get 547. And there seems to be some kind of a bug actually. 6.53. Some round was defined as long. Actually, some round should be defined as double. This was a mistake. Uh, This was my mistake actually, the way I defined this argument. Because if I'm not wrong, long is only for integers, right? Yeah, long is basically only for integers.
Sir, I tried
No, I should
this.
have defined this as double.
So I tried this some round for a new book one with some data. It worked.
Fundamentally, this function is available. The point that I was driving was this
Okay.
function is available fundamentally in any workbook. Now, if you open any workbook, this function will be available. Only thing is, while writing the function, I made a small error, small but important error, because of which it is only rounding off to integers. What I did was I declared this sum round to be long. It should have been declared as double. So long is only for integers. Okay, it should have been declared as double. So that's a technical point. Okay, but barring that, have you understood the concept? Okay, the concept is very simple, that you can define your own functions. Okay, you can create your own functions and you can embed them in Excel
There only one question,
and
sir.
make available to the entire application. Yes.
Only one question. So when you are editing this, so okay, now we have to change that long as double. So when we do that, again you open this file and do it again. Do you have to do the add-in process or it will take?
So we'll have to repeat the end. Now let's rectify it. Okay, in
Okay.
a way it's good that came up. So now I shouldn't have actually deleted the data, but okay. I just open the file once more. Okay, this was the file. Okay,
Mm.
so here I just change this to double. Okay, so now I'm declaring, I'm allowing it to have decimal values also. What? Because my number of places need not be zero, right? Sometimes I would like to round off to the nearest one decimal, nearest two decimals. So I declare this as double. That's all. One small change is needed, and then I'll save it. And now I'll again do a save as. Okay, as a .xlam file. Okay, first I have made the change in .xlsm file, and then I'll go to .xlam file, that is Excel add-in. It takes me to this same path. I save it. Now I'll replace it. Okay, now the corrected code should go correct. So I corrected it in .xlsm file, and I'll put this in .xlm as another open workbook. Okay, or close the workbook or add in before saving. Okay, because I've got an existing add-in, so I might have to just remove the add-in. So first of all, this is an open add-in. I'll remove it. And now I'll try to save it as. Okay, now it got. Okay, so because I had that active add-in, I removed it. And now I'm going to reinsert it. So again, file options, add-ins, go. I'll browse. I'll show this once more. It will ask me whether to replace. Do you want to replace it? Yes. Let's replace the file. Let's replace the add-in. Okay. Now, ordinarily, what I do is we already saved it. I'll close the application entirely and then again I'll open. Okay, some values I have put. And now if I use my sum round, wherein I show this as the range with one decimal. Now I get the answer with 1 decimal. I've repeated the entire procedure. I made a correction in the original .xlsm file. I saved it as an add-in and I replaced the add-in. I made that correction. So now I get 27.90. So if I cross verify, I can use a round function. I can say I want to round off this till one place. And I just extend this formula till below. I get 27.9. So everything gets rounded off to 1 decimal. Then it is 27.9. If I want to just put add some more decimals, and then if I want to round off up to, let's say, 2 decimals, then the answer will be 27.94. I can cross check. This can be rounded off to 2 decimals. And the answer is 27.94. Okay, so are you getting the point that I'm trying to drive? Okay.
I
And
think
if you want,
sir, I think I may have to revisit this because after
yeah,
doing this also, I'm getting the, I mean, even if I put the number of digits as 2, again it is coming to rounding off by 0
I
only.
think you may not have replaced it, sir. You'll have to remove the old one and then save it.
But it
Okay,
is taking, the command it is taking, when I'm giving 2 decimal, it is taking it, but the result is not coming properly. That's what I said.
so if you press Alt F11, so you can
Okay.
check. Now in my case, it is showing as double. In your
Okay.
case, is it still showing as long?
Probably. Okay, let me see
Yeah,
that.
so yeah, first thing what you'll have to do is you'll have to go to file options add in once more and you'll have to
Okay.
remove your add-in and then you try to save your
I,
file.
I,
Okay.
I
You
did
remove
that.
this in
I
first.
did that. No, okay, okay.
Okay.
I said it is still lying there like that only.
Ah.
Hmm.
So maybe you'll have to make the change again.
And I don't have to change anywhere else. No? Just change the
No.
long as double. That's all.
Long as double in the original file and then
Okay.
save it as a .xlm file once more.
I
Okay,
am
first thing is you remove your add-in. First thing is remove your add-in. Second thing is you make change in the original file,
okay.
.xlsm file. Then
Okay.
third thing you save it as a .xlam file. In that
Okay.
process, it will ask you whether to replace the existing one. You replace the existing one. And then you reinsert the add-in through file options, add-in, Excel add-ins go that way.
Removing is done by only unticking that checkbox, no?
Correct, correct, correct.
Okay.
That is the first step actually.
Okay. I did that. Then I changed that as double. Oh, sorry. Double. Spelling mistake. Double. Okay. Now save as file. Okay. Where is that? I have
We
to
are actually now almost running out of the time. Actually, I had in my mind to create a function also because it's a ready-made function. What we'll do is we'll start the next session with one more function. Okay, even I got that mistake initially. So we lost some valuable time in figuring out what went wrong. Okay, so because that module name was the same as function name, it costed us some time. Never mind, but in that process, we also learned how to Google for these kind of issues. And what we can do is next time we will start with one more function. Let's say you all are cost and management accountants, so probably we'll create a function for EOQ, that is economic order quantity, correct? And we make because economic order quantity function is not there. Microsoft has not created something like equal to EOQ. There is no equal to EOQ. And we create a function called EOQ for our purposes. So we'll try to create one that way. Okay, we'll try to create it from scratch and we'll see this process. So we were a little shaky in this discussion, but I hope you have got the gist that fundamentally we can create a function Okay, we can develop a function and we can save it as a .xlm file, and then it can become available in the entire Excel application. Okay, so that comes as a possibility. So I think we'll stop over here today's discussion. We have run out of time. Time is up. Okay. So please remember that on Wednesday we don't have our session. Our next session is going to be on the next Wednesday, that is 15th of March. Okay. So accordingly, you uh, please make a note in your calendar. It's going to be the concluding session. So please uh, attend that session, all of you. And I will try to share some homework files, okay, to
Sir, is it
everyone.
next Monday or Wednesday?
Wednesday, 15th of March, I said.
Okay,
On
okay,
15th of March, please note it, all of
okay,
you.
okay.
It will be next Wednesday, that is 9 days from today. And it's going to be 15th March. On that day, we will meet at the same time, same link, and we will go ahead with our discussion. Okay, I'll try to arrange and send you some homework files, which you can try in the meantime. Okay, fine.
How
All
will
right,
we get
so
how will we get those homework files?
probably you will be sent them via email or something. You have been sharing your email IDs, no? I suppose, in the
Yeah.
attendance. Everybody
Oh,
is putting their email IDs.
email ID we are not putting, we'll put it. Okay, I'll put it right now. Okay. So we may have to
Yeah.
tell the admin to see the email IDs in today's chat. Okay.
Okay. Or
Sir,
it may be shared. It may be what we can do. Perhaps it can be shared on a public domain or something.
that could be
Okay.
better. Otherwise, he'll have to send that,
Yeah.
create a group and do something. That will be difficult, no?
Hmm. Yeah.
Sir, finally, one more question, sir. If we want to reach out to you, I mean, can we reach out to you before the next class? If suppose we can, you
Yeah, you
send.
can do that. You can do that. So do one thing. Uh, I will do one thing. I'll share one location. Should I do that? I'll create one folder and I'll
Okay.
share a location over there. I will put it. How about that? I mean, let's try to make it simple. Okay. Uh, I'll just create one folder very quickly
Okay.
and let me do one very simple thing. Let me share this folder. Okay, all of you, just hang on for a minute and okay, I'm just putting it here. Okay, please preserve this link. Okay, thank you, Jitendra ji. Thanks for your kind words. Okay, please preserve this link, all of you. And on this link, I'll be sharing some homework files, maybe by tomorrow itself, so that you can try those things. Okay. And if you want, you can in turn upload your files also, but just put your name as a prefix or suffix so that we'll come to know who has uploaded that work and probably certain things. If you want, you can contact me over email. I'll mention my email ID also. This is, but ideally keep it on the drive so that things remain collated. So let's get connected accordingly. Okay, so use that link. On that link, I'll be sharing some material. Okay, I hope everybody has noted that link.
Sir, if we have some query also, we can put it in a file or a Word file or something
Correct.
with our name tagged to that one,
Yeah.
saying that it's a
Yeah, I
query.
have shared my email ID also. If you have any specific questions, you can mail
We
it.
can
But if you
specifically.
want to share your work, like
Okay,
your homework, that you upload over there.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Like
So,
your
so when should we look for the file, sir, in this drive? In another two,
uh,
3 days?
Yeah, probably you will get a notification. Yeah. By tomorrow itself, I will upload by tomorrow EOD. So let's say day after tomorrow, you can have a look at it.
Okay, sir. You said that we'll get notification. How do we get notification?
Hey, you may not get notification. Don't depend
Okay,
on that.
okay.
I'm not too
Got it.
sure.
Got it. Okay.
Ideally, you should, but then if you don't get notification, don't depend on that. Just have a look.
Okay, sir.
Okay. On
Thank
that.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank
Okay.
you. It's a very excellent session today.
Thanks.
Very good knowledge sharing. Thank you very much for your
Yeah.
effort. And, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Shashidharan. Thank you, everyone. So
Thank
we'll
you,
wind
sir.
up. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay,
Thanks.
okay.
Thanks. Bye.